to episode 262 of Late Night Linux, recorded on the 18th of December 2023. I'm Joe, and with me are Phelim.
Ahoy.
Graham.
Hello.
And Will.
Hello.
I think it's the 1st of January 2024 now when we release this, so it's next year, even though it's December for us.
We made it.
Yeah, or maybe
Hopefully.
we didn't. Yeah. Anyway, so this is our predictions episode. We'll be making some predictions for 2024, but first we need to look back at the predictions we made for last year, or this year, if you are recording it with us. Will, your first prediction was, the internet services free ride is over. New services launched are no longer built around a freemium or ad-supported model. You pay if you want to use it, and the world is better for it. This hasn't really come true, although we've sort of seen a bit of it with Twitter, haven't we? Like, if you really want to use Twitter still, you've pretty much got to pay for it.
Yeah, I think this one was a little bit vague and perhaps a little bit cagey. Certainly, we have seen the financial backing for these large startup internet service companies, social networks and what have you, has shrunk quite dramatically. And we've seen layoffs across the industry, and that has continued throughout the year. But it hasn't really gone to the extent that I was expecting it to. I thought that people would be paying for Facebook and Twitter and Instagram and everything, and that hasn't happened. Are we on the road to that? I can see it happening, but I don't know. I think perhaps we're going to stave that off, and somehow there'll be enough money coming in from invading your privacy and selling that rather than adverts.
Yeah, I said at the time that people want shit for free, and I stand by that, I think. Most people, at least. Now, Graham seems to have hacked into our server, our web server, and replaced the MP3 file, because your first one, according to my listen back, is Valve launches a new iteration of the Steam Deck with a slightly larger OLED display and better battery life. No. Fuck you. Fuck you.
Am I alive next year, Graham? Tell me now. I can take it.
I'm sorry, Phelim.
Oh well.
How did you know this? Like, did you have insider info or what?
Yes, he did.
I didn't. I
think you did, didn't you?
No, I didn't.
You know someone at Valve, obviously.
Oh, I wish I did know someone at Valve, but no.
Yeah, you did get yours awfully quickly, didn't you?
I had to pay for. I've paid for both of them.
Yeah.
Even when this came up later on in the year, I'd forgotten I'd made this prediction because it was foolish. I don't think I expected Valve to actually do it. But I think having had the Steam Deck in my hand at the time, there's a big bevel in the original Steam Deck, and I really wanted OLED. I'd been playing with the Switch OLED, and it just seemed like the natural next step. And I'd read all about the fact that it needed a lot of re-engineering to make it happen. So I really didn't think it was likely. So I was kind of putting my desire into that one. And I got lucky. Very lucky. Very much a firm point there. Phelim, you had a related one. You said that John Carmack, or as you wrote it and said it, John Caramack, the delicious chocolate from our youth.
I was hungry, okay?
Yeah. Joins forces with Gabe Newell to do VR on SteamOS properly and really take the fight to Sony/MS. And Graham, you chimed in that was sort of happening, and we were expecting the Deckard headset, which hasn't come out yet then.
Yeah, this is true. And I'm still very much into VR. I know that everybody's moved on. 2024 will be very interesting, I think, with Apple, with its super expensive, very limited kind of distribution, own VR headset. And I think the Deckard is still in lots of kind of Valve's code names. They've got the kind of SoC with the Steam Deck. You've got OLED displays now on the Steam Deck. I do think the Deckard is coming, but it's Valve time. I haven't made it a prediction for this year, but I do think it's on the cards, and I don't think it's too far off.
As I said in parentheses on mine, I was out of my depth making that, and I had no idea, so that was just a pot shot.
All right, well, I had one prediction for each of you. My first one was that one of us will have a RISC-V board in production by the end of the year for monitoring heating or weather or brew pie type stuff. And I said it would probably be Will. And I don't think I'm going to get this point, am I? We almost got there, but not quite.
Very nearly. I have a RISC-V board with Wi-Fi on board. I just need to find a use for it, and I haven't done yet. I think probably over Christmas I'm going to find it. So, as we record, there's still a couple of weeks to play. It could still happen.
But just don't tell them, right? Okay, that's fine. We agreed.
Yeah, that's why I said in production, because I knew you'd have one. It was just obvious that you'd have a board by the end of the year, but I said you'd have one actually doing something. I also said that one of us would buy a Mac and run Linux on it seamlessly through virtualization. But I don't believe any of us did. You're still using your one, aren't you, Graham?
Yeah.
And I've still got my one. And
never going to happen.
Yeah, obviously. Well, yeah, that's just never going to happen. So, no, that was just a complete fail. And I said one of us, probably even failing, will be regularly using an AI/ML tool by the end of the year.
Nope.
Probably for work, probably only now and then, every couple of months maybe. And you just were like, no, fuck you.
I need to send you a screenshot from my Nextcloud to prove that I don't have it. It's got a thing that says you're not using any AI.
Oh, yeah, shit, Nextcloud. Oh, I can't believe you just disabled that just to rob me of a point, didn't you?
No, it don't. You have to install an app that uses it, and I genuinely don't use any apps that use it. Sorry.
Well, I am using Copilot in VS Code.
That's not AI, Will, I'm afraid to tell you. That's just some sort of machine learning or language model.
I said AI/ML, so fuck you, failing.
Fuck's sake.
All right, so you are actually using that regularly then?
I use it pretty much every day, and I use it at work. I don't use it exclusively for work, and that is not my primary use case, but I can, if I choose to, use it for work. But yeah, if I'm writing code, then I have Copilot on, and it saves me a lot of time and energy, and I really quite like it.
Yes. Full point for me then.
Sicken me.
All right, well, also on AI, Will, you said AI will save someone's life. Phelan will even say that in this case, it was actually pretty great.
Even if it was my own life being saved, I wouldn't say that.
Well, I actually looked this up, and I think as far back as 2016, there's some medical cases where AI has actually saved people's lives. And I think there's one this year where it spotted some brain thing, and like the guy had been discharged, and then they phoned him up as he was driving home from the hospital and said, get back sharpish. And that basically saved his life.
I think that's the biggest pile of horseshit I've heard in all my fucking life. How many Tesla cars have we had brake testing some person in the whole area and like crashing people through the dividing line? No fucking way. Bollocks.
Well, Will also said that AI will kill someone on purpose.
Ooh, on purpose? I think incompetence, maybe.
Well, he said something like a killbot or self-driving car will be subject to the trolley problem in real life. And it'll go to court and everything. But I don't think that has happened, has it?
I have been trying to keep a little bit of evidence here and there as the year has gone on that may or may not support my case.
Oh, yeah. I remember that mushroom picker one. Yes, yes. I'll gladly give you the point.
Oh, well, there we go. So on the good side of things, this article is back in May on the BBC saying that AI had discovered a new super antibiotic. Now, this story doesn't go into much depth and there's no follow-up and I haven't really looked, but yeah, there's a third of a point in this. And then, on the killing front, AI somebody asked AI to write a mushroom foraging book. They then published that book on Amazon. People bought it, ate poisonous mushrooms. So not quite what I had in mind, but it's pretty close.
Maybe half a point all told for those two then.
Yeah, that's fair.
Graham, you said WSL becomes the most popular Linux distribution if it's not already, but I, at the time, said, no, you can't have that because there's no way to measure it. And I don't think there is any way to measure it.
And that's true. And in fact, just before this episode started, I was searching for why hasn't Microsoft published any information on this? I suspect it's because it's very, very popular and they don't want to let people know.
I suppose, yeah. They don't really want people to know, do they? But so no points there. You said DDIs start to become a thing for package distribution. This is Linux discoverable disk image, which I had to look up because I didn't even remember it. So I don't think it's become much of a thing, has it?
That's true. And I think maybe because I live in this world with Snap, I'm surprised there's not a more generic kind of packaging format that's containerized, that's in systemd. To be honest, that's basically what Linux proposing. And I think it's a good solution. But no, I haven't heard anything this year. It doesn't seem to have gone anywhere.
All right, so where are we with points then? Graham got a solid point for his Steam Deck thing.
I solidly got no points.
Yeah, I got one for the AIML thing because Will's using Copilot. And Will sort of got one for the AI stuff, maybe. So it looks like a 1-1-1 versus none for you. But then you did sort of have another prediction that I skipped over, Will, which was the total collapse of society in the UK and riots breaking out and all the rest of it. That didn't happen, did it?
Well, not quite, but we got close. Thursday, the 23rd of February 2023, in The Independent, is a story about Therese Coffey, who suggested that due to the food shortages that we had in this country thanks to Brexit, people should eat turnips. And this was picked up by the news. It was shared around quite a lot, and then it quietly went away and nobody actually died. But I thought we were on the brink of a point there. But I think that perhaps society snatched it back at the last minute.
Well, I think we'll add that to your other sort of semi-points to form 1 point. So we all get a point apart from Phelim. So everybody wins apart from Phelim, who loses.
I think that's the real victory there, though, isn't it, really, if we're talking about it properly?
Yeah.
I wonder why that would be. Is it because we used AI to come up with our guesses?
Must have been.
I'd gladly lose.
Okay, this episode is sponsored by Tailscale. Go to tailscale.com/LNL. Tailscale is programmable network software that's private and secure by default. It's a super simple way to connect devices and services to each other, wherever they are. Tailscale is an easy-to-deploy, zero-config, no-fuss VPN that allows you to build simple networks across complex infrastructure. Replace legacy VPN infrastructure in just a few minutes and securely connect anything to anything, no matter what operating system, hardware type, or configuration is in place, such as your GitHub runner, to an on-prem database. I recently set up Tailscale on a Linux box at home and on my phone. It took about 5 minutes, and then I could SSH into my home network while I was out and about. It was so much easier than configuring WireGuard manually. So support the show and go to tailscale.com/LNL and try Tailscale out for free for up to 100 devices and 3 users with no credit card required. That's tailscale.com/LNL. On to a bit of admin then. First of all, thank you everyone who supports us with PayPal and Patreon. We really do appreciate that. If you want to join those people, you can go to latenightlinux.com/support. And remember that for various amounts on Patreon, you can get an ad-free feed of either just this show or all the shows in the Late Night Linux family. And if you want to get in contact, you can email show@latenightlinux.com. All right, 2024 predictions. Will, what's your first one then?
I think that this year we'll see the financial collapse of a significant cloud vendor. Now, I'm not talking Microsoft Azure or AWS, but I think that there will be a cloud vendor of a decent size who will just overnight just disappear, and all of their services will be shut off, and none of that data will be coming back. And there will be a hard lesson to be learned from this.
You're talking a sort of OVH, DigitalOcean-sized vendor, maybe?
Yeah, maybe even a bit bigger than that, but I don't know really who they might be.
Why did you have to name the one that I'm on? I mean, why would you do that?
Well, maybe they'll have a fire in every data center at once, and that'll be what does it.
This sounds horribly like we'll know something we don't know.
Yeah.
I saw a brilliant talk this weekend. I went into London and I saw Bobby Seagull do a talk about when he used to work at Lehman Brothers in New York. And he predicted the collapse of Lehman Brothers when he went to the stationery cupboard and found it hadn't been restocked for weeks. So keep a lookout. If your backups suddenly disappear or things get a bit slower, maybe time to off-board.
All right, Graham, what's your first one?
My first one is that Epic Games officially supports Linux, I think specifically for Fortnite. I'm not a big fan of Epic. They have a up and down history with Linux. Tim Sweeney, the CEO of Epic, seems, I don't know, just in the last few weeks, he'd said that he was really happy about the Steam Deck and that Valve has created a great device, but they're not going to think about it until there are tens of millions of users on the Steam Deck. And that seems to me bold words that kind of turn their, they quickly switch on. I think the Steam Deck's been hugely successful, and I think Linux is the way forward for games. I think they've got to bring Linux support, and I think they're going to have to make Fortnite work officially on Linux.
I think you're going to win with this one. I think this is more inside knowledge.
It's not.
See what I reckon he's been doing. He's spotted the IPs that are based from their office, and he's then been trying to reverse engineer the prompts that they may have been using to code.
If anything, I'm cynical about people so openly denying they're doing something or going to do something. It's like, oh, okay, so they're thinking of doing it.
If this one does become true, I'll be very, very happy. My kids play Fortnite quite a lot, and They're just starting to get to the age where they want to download stuff from the internet and generally browse. And I worry that they're going to download a whole bunch of viruses and just destroy their machines. Getting them off of Windows and onto Linux would let me be a lot more comfortable with letting them loose on their computers and letting them experiment and play. So I really, really hope that you win this one.
Phelan, what's your first one?
So this is not really an area I would work in that much, but I know a lot of companies I touch off of use VMware for a lot of their virtualization. And I always say to them, why are you not using KVM? And they always go, oh, because for VMware is the thing that we all use. Well, Broadcom bought VMware and they did away with their perpetual license to start off with, which I thought was, oh, that's going to go down really well. But I don't know how many perpetual licenses they have. They cut the price on some other ones, but I just think in general, I think Broadcom are going to make a bags of this. I think they're going to annoy enough people and make enough grief for the license. Because, I mean, I don't think anything's plain sailing anymore. That I just think that maybe people start looking out, and I think maybe this might be the year where virtualized Linux hypervisors, even if it's running a Windows server as a guest on it, whatever, will actually start to win out. Because I think I don't know if that's Red Hat anymore, though. That's the only problem. If somebody out there can do a decent job of pitching it to these companies, then maybe we could do better that way and people learn to hybridize more. And obviously I'm delusional like every time I try to make predictions.
Well, if Will's prediction comes true, then maybe that'll happen, but somehow I doubt it. We'll see. All right, well, I think that one of the major distro vendors will release a version that's got more proprietary code than FOSS in it. It'll cause a huge stink, but it'll be a quiet success. This is just more enshittification, basically. I don't know exactly what it looks like, a distro with more proprietary code than FOSS in it.
Is that compiled code or the source?
Well, it'll be proprietary, so you won't have the source code for it, I suppose. And so, yeah, I think it'll just be in the ISOs or the repos for it or whatever, just as binaries, and there won't be source code for it. And it might be AI bullshit, or it might be, I don't know what else really, probably AI bullshit. And it will just create this massive stink in the tech press, the Linux tech press. But then people will actually just use it and it'll be fine.
I can't see this happening.
No, not a chance.
Well, I did say my predictions were shit this year because I couldn't think of anything.
It is difficult this year. I think there isn't like an obvious hype thing we can get on and say this might happen. I think maybe by us couching it and being more conservative, something big will happen.
Yeah. Well, it'd be good for the show if it does. And I actually made my second one before I'd looked back at the other ones. I said there'll be a completely new Steam Deck, not just a minor spec bump. It'll have similar battery life to the original, so worse than the OLED, which will then become the base model, but it will play all the big games. And it'll have anti-cheat bullshit worked out behind the scenes, and there'll only be a couple of games that won't work well on it. And it's all going to be using Linux. I think when I sobered up and read this prediction, I thought, no, hang on. It takes a long time for these things to develop, and they've only just released the OLED version. So this is probably not going to happen, but I'm going to stake my claim just in case it does. And I swear I did not remember that you had predicted the OLED version. So I'm just sticking with my second shit prediction.
I think Valve seems quite committed to the to people targeting the performance of the current Steam Deck, the kind of engineering work that's gone into it. I think that's why they've been very careful with the OLED version to make it almost the same performance-wise. And they'll be reluctant to let that go without like a major uplift in performance.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. Like, they need a major uplift to be able to play the real AAA titles, because there's still quite a few titles that you can't play with any sort of decent settings on the Steam Deck, right?
Yeah, and there are a couple of other AMD-based Windows devices, handheld devices, that do have a lot better performance, and running Windows. But I still don't think it's like a generational shift that Valve will need to be able to do it.
I think to hit the performance and power requirements, they're going to need to move to an ARM processor, and in order to do that, they're going to need some sort of dynamic recompilation of x86 code into ARM, and doing that in open source, I don't know. I don't know if there's enough money behind it to make that happen, but maybe this could be the proprietary OS that Joe thought about.
Good point.
Oh, yeah. Maybe my two are actually one thing, and I'm going to have an epic 2-point win.
No, you only get 1 point.
Or maybe I just want to lose. Will, what's your second one?
We talked maybe a month or two ago now about how Amazon are quietly replacing their Android-based devices with their own custom OS. And my prediction is that that OS will be revealed to be Arch, and it will ship with a whole bunch of well-known security flaws that will give root access really easily. And at this point, everyone, including Phelim, will go out and buy some sort of Echo device so that they can hook it up to their home automation system, run their own version of Linux on it, and happy days.
It's not like I've become some sort of SI unit for things being open.
Even Phelim.
How many even Phelims have you got? Oh, just the one.
I'm going to make that my summon word on my Amazon devices.
Well, I don't think it's going to be Arch, but I think you might be right that there'll be ways to hack it and people will find a way to run proper non-Amazon bullshit on it.
Fingers crossed.
Graham, you've decided to troll Phelim then.
Yeah, this is a quick one. I don't think the AI hype is going to subside in 2024.
No, this is a guaranteed point. This is not, well, no, you're not guaranteed a point. You're not allowed a point because it's too fucking obvious.
Well, I think Phelim will say it's dead in the ground. And if it's similar to the other things that have risen and fallen under such hype, it's rare for something to, last for this long. But I don't see it happening. I think this is the real deal for a few years.
Well, it ties in with Will's third one.
Yeah, I suspect that Google are going to cancel something huge in order to divert that money into other new AI projects. And by huge, I mean something like Google Mail.
No, that makes them too much money.
Does it, though?
I think it does.
That's the thing. There's an awful lot of old stuff knocking about in that. And really, can they read that much value out of email, the protocol that nobody uses anymore? We're supposedly told all the time. I don't know. You might be onto something on this.
Yeah, they've got 20 years of data they don't need anymore.
Yeah, but it's a core part of their business offering, isn't it? Their workspaces thing.
Oh, well, we've seen many illogical things done by them.
It does not cost them $5 or $6 a month to run each email address, does it? Let's face it.
Maybe they shut down the free version and you either pay for it or you move somewhere else.
Yeah, maybe. All right, Phelim, you've got a Red Hat one.
I don't know how to quantify this because I don't really know big FOSS names that work at Red Hat anymore, but I think that the IBM corporate machine is going to crush the spirit of anybody working there right now. IBM is successful at being a business company, and it is clearly a company run by accountants. And I've heard from loads of people who've worked in there that unless you happen to work in one of the fancy R&D offices, it's very much a place that's going to grind you away. And I just don't think Red Hat, as we mentioned in the news, they're just not as relevant right now. Like, we don't seem to have that same spirit of, what they're going to do, how they're going to lead things. I mean, they got rid of one of the lead desktop guys and stuff like that. So I don't know. It just feels like that's going to go badly wrong. And I'm hoping that maybe brings a bit more renewed love of free desktop and doing things together. But I don't think Gnome's going to play nice to that. I mean, they've got $1 million now. They don't need to talk to us plebs that are down on KD and XFCE land, do they?
I don't think there's any way to quantify this, so there's no way you can get a point from it. It's too vague.
I think I will. I think we'll look back at the end of the year and we see, such and such left, blah, blah, blah. And I think we're going to see that.
Well, we'll see.
I stand by my vagueness.
Graham, you've got another vague one that's hard to quantify.
Yeah, it is hard to quantify. So this is that I think movie and music piracy will become a problem again. I think we can quantify it maybe by places like The Verge writing stories on how there's a crackdown or there's, some new government initiative to remind people that piracy is theft. I've seen it, the enshittification of everything. Sony recently removed lots of movies and TV series you may have bought on your PlayStation Network. The only way to actually have permanent access to a lot of files is to download them in some other way. And I thought that era had gone, and it's definitely not gone. So that's what this prediction is. I'll try and find the stories and keep a log of them.
Yeah, the streaming wars and all that. Yeah, I think that this has already happened to a large extent, hasn't it?
I think so. This is a 2023 thing, but I can only see it becoming more visible in 2024 as perhaps, Raspberry Pis running Kodi or whatever they happen to be doing, actually start storing files offline.
And we've seen Amazon already moving to lock people out from installing Kodi on Fire TV sticks. So I guess they're worried about it.
All right, Phelim, you've got one about Musk.
Yeah, I think he's going to kill X. I think he's going to blame it on some sort of, anti-ads are not being supported, blah, blah, blah. Or, the EU's being a big meanie to me and demanding that I actually do things that are abide by the law. And what he's really going to do is get rid of it for his pal Peter Thiel just ahead of the election.
I don't know. I think he's pretending that he's going to kill it to just try and drive more people to sign up for the, whatever it is, Twitter premium blue check bullshit thing. I don't think he's going to kill it.
Well, I think either way, that's a win-win. Either it goes away or we can all spot them a mile away and we just fucking insta-block them.
I'm a bit worried about Twitter. I've kept my account and I've kept looking at the stuff that it recommends for me. And I know everybody has said it, but it's fucking evil. It's a fucking evil hellhole that goes one way, and it's accelerated immensely over 2023. And I really worry about the people who are taking this shit seriously and are going to kind of do things with the information they think they're learning through it. I think it's a fucking mess.
Well, I've been spending a little bit more time on Facebook because I'm part of some groups where people sell guitars, and I've been having my eye on various guitars. I haven't bought anything yet, and I probably won't because I don't have space.
You probably won't. Yeah, that's a yes if ever I fucking heard one.
I might happen to have my eye on one that my wife won't let me buy. But anyway, I've been spending more time there, and that is a fucking hellhole, man. I keep blocking these Nazi accounts, and they just keep coming, man. And it's just all the same memes and flat earth shit and fucking chemtrails and all this shit. I tell you, the whole internet is fucked.
Yeah, the thing that's really surprised me is that now Twitter has become this feedback, a kind of like a Daily Mail on steroids feedback loop. And it's just getting worse almost every week that I look.
I will say this, Mastodon rocks. All the nice people on there, all the people that, either we know through the show or show adjacent or whatever. What a cool group of folks. And I am happy the day that fucking Elmo Space Karen bought Twitter, because it really kicked that off. And maybe that is a good thing, and maybe that can continue.
Oh, thanks, Fader.
Yep.
Well, Mastodon will be cool until all the normal people turn up and spoil it.
No, they'll all just get blocked and it'll be fine. Graham, let's end with a nice positive one, although it seems to have a sting in the tail. But let's do the positive bit first.
Okay, Plasma 6 coming out 2024. It's looking amazing. I think they've done everything right. I love the way KD is going at the moment. I think it's underrepresented in the distro community. I really wish more distros would install it by default. I hope that would happen. And I think for that to happen, GNOME will continue to suffer. I don't see where GNOME's going. I'm sorry.
Well, GNOME will just continue to be boring and stable with hardly any features.
Oh, I think you'll find there's less features even now.
Well, Plasma will come along and be great for a different type of user, I think. And my prediction is that both GNOME and KDE will be excellent, and different people will enjoy them, and it'll all be hunky-dory.
It's that time of year. Let's start positive.
Yeah, exactly. There's no need to shit on GNOME. They can both be great. And XFCE will be great as well. It'll get Wayland support or something. I don't know.
Will it now, though, really?
Yeah. And we'll crack 5%. No, that's definitely not an official prediction.
Come on, 2%. We've been celebrating 2%, so come on.
Yeah. No, it's going to be the year of Linux on the desktop. Anyway, right, we'd better get out of here before we start doing more nonsense. So next time we'll have some discoveries and stuff. We won't be doing news for a little while because we're not recording for a couple of weeks. We're still in December, remember. It's all a bit weird with the time shifting. But anyway, we will be back next week. But until then, I've been Joe.
I've been Phelim.
I've been Graham.
And I've been Will.
See you later.